Shoplifting with a cop. Hold my drugs and money, copper. Booby Trap Kills nephew. This is narcissism and a low IQ. Yes, officer, my dealer sold me bad stuff. Don't be the decoy. The weirdest OnlyFans stuff ever. I'd like to report my illegal lab. This is beyond disgusting. How not to lose the lottery. Are you ready to learn about some dumb criminals? Well then, sit back, relax, enjoy your favorite beverage, and let's get on with the video. Shoplifting with a cop. Every year in December, a Walmart in Chester County, Virginia holds a Shop with a Cop event. This event helps make the holidays happier for impoverished children by pairing them with a police officer to do holiday shopping for loved ones. It's also an excellent public relations opportunity for the local police department with a community they are normally at odds with. During this event, there are scores of off-duty police officers in uniform in the store shopping with children. So Hector Maldonado decided that would be a good time to steal nearly $1,400 worth of items from the store. You would think that someone with a failure to appear warrant for another shoplifting case would not want to be in a store with all these cops, let alone steal from it at the time. Maldonado is also wanted for larceny. An employee alerted the police to the shoplifter. Police surrounded him and took him into custody quickly. Look, if you can't even manage to shoplift successfully when there's not a bunch of cops in the store, maybe don't try it when there are. Hold my drugs and money, copper. In early May of 2024, police noticed a man passed out behind the wheel of his car in a video store parking lot on US 421 in Manchester, Kentucky. As this was the cops' regular beat, they were probably more surprised by the man in the car than by the fact that a video store actually still exists in 2024. Police approached the car, woke the man up, and asked him for identification. The suspect, in an apparent drug-induced stupor, reached into the wrong pocket. He handed the cops a baggie containing crystal, pills, and over $3,000 in cold, hard cash. So the cops did cop stuff and arrested him. David Ratliff was charged with trafficking and public intoxication. If you're out selling dope, maybe don't take a nap in public in the middle of your workday. Booby Trap Kills nephew. Sometime before February 24th, 2025, Alfonso Brown was incarcerated in a state other than North Carolina. I have no other details on that incarceration. It is not what this story is about. This story is about what happened on February 24th. That's the day that Brown's nephew, Jordan Dove, went to Brown's St. Martin's residence on Chickadee Circle to check on the place. When Dove got there, he attempted to enter the residence through the back door. At which point, Dove learned that Brown had set up a shotgun to go off when anyone attempted to enter through the back door. The shotgun fired and it hit Dove square in the chest. Someone reported hearing the gunshot and police arrived to find Dove barely clinging to life. He was rushed to the hospital by ambulance but later did lose his life. Police dismantled the booby trap and also discovered that the front door was barricaded from the inside. Police think that the booby trap was intended for law enforcement. The article that I read indicates authorities will pursue charges against Brown for the incident. If you booby trap your house before you're incarcerated, maybe tell your loved ones about the booby trap so that you don't lose more than your freedom. This is narcissism and a low IQ. To understand the level of stupidity reached by this woman, you have to understand her original case. So let's flash back to 1994 for a couple minutes while I set up the stupid. Well, okay, the original crime is horrific, but her attempts to cover it up are pretty damn stupid too. Let's take a look at what happens when narcissism meets a low IQ with Susan Smith. In October of 1994, Susan Smith contacted police and told them that she'd been carjacked. Her 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alex were in their car seats at the time. She claimed a black man had carjacked her children. Police launched a massive manhunt. For the next 9 days, Smith is all over national TV. I'm talking fucking Good Morning America level stuff here. She's heartbroken. She's here. Just watch an excerpt.
I would like to say to whoever has my children that they please bring them home to us where they belong. Our lives have been torn apart by this tragic event. I can't express how much they are wanted back home, how much we love them, we miss them. They are our hearts. And who I have prayed every day, and there's not 1 minute that goes by that I don't think about these boys.
So then after 9 days, this happened.
I do understand why they're having to do what they're doing. I'm all they have. Right now, they have not been able to rule anyone out. I don't think I'm any more of a suspect than anyone in this case right now.
And then later that same day, this happened.
Susan Smith has been arrested and will be charged with 2 counts of murder in connection with the deaths of her children, Michael 3 and Alexander 14 months. The vehicle, a 1990 Mazda, driven by Smith, was located late Thursday afternoon in Lake John D. Long near Union. 2 bodies were found in the vehicle's back seat. Identities are pending an autopsy.
Fast forward to 1995, and she's convicted on both homicides and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole, which happened in 2024. Let's take a moment to remember Michael and Alex at this point. Now, here comes the dumb. So, as many women in jail do, especially attractive ones, and this woman is as beautiful as she is crazy, Smith was leading several men on romantically. Anyway, one of the dudes finds out about it and decides he doesn't want to be her boyfriend anymore, and that he'd like to remunerate some of his financial losses, so he goes to the press. I tell you that just so you know where this is coming from. I also want you to know it could be substantiated if necessary because jailhouse calls are recorded, and Smith has not filed any suits against the man about it, even though inmates do retain the right to sue people for things like libel. Make of those 2 facts what you will. The 2 would write letters and talk about her plans as she got out. She was considering running an advice blog. Okay, look, this woman is 53 today. She went to jail in 1994, which means she was 23 when she went to jail, and her sum total of good advice at that point in time was don't kill your children. But after 30 years in jail, she's ready to give people advice. Possibly she wanted to work on prison reform through social media outlets. Now don't get me wrong here, I love some of these ex-convict prison reform video channels. Some of those people can really tell a story. But she's going to do one? I'd probably watch 1 or 2 episodes out of morbid curiosity, but seriously, who's turning in to see this woman say she was mistreated in prison? By the way, back in 2000, a guard and a captain both pled guilty to having sexual intercourse with Smith. They got light sentences, but their careers were officially over. Yeah, maybe an OnlyFans account could bring in a couple hundred sickos, but that's about it. She asked her suitor to find out how she could get on Dancing with the Stars. She was convinced that people would want to watch her. Oh, and at her parole hearing, she said, God has forgiven me, so the state should have mercy on me. So now do you understand why I called this narcissism and a low IQ? What are you going to do when you beat parole review? I'm going to be an internet star. Her parole was denied. She'll be eligible again in 2 years. Maybe I'll update you after that because I'm sure her dumb is not over yet. Here's a tip. If you want to be a celebrity, maybe a 30-year detour through the prison system for being a completely heartless bitch isn't the best way to go about it. Yes, officer, my dealer sold me bad stuff. A woman in Indiana contacted police to inform them that someone was selling bad crystal. She told them she knew this because they had sold some to her and it made her feel like she was going to have a heart attack. So a police officer headed over to Sarah Harris's residence in Bedford to make sure everyone was okay. When police arrived, Harris provided them with the suspect crystal and asked them to test it. Harris went so far as to state that she wanted to press charges against the person who sold it to her. Oh, the cops tested the substance all right, and then they took Harris into custody. Look, if you buy something illegal, maybe don't call the cops about it when it turns out not to be what you thought it was. Don't be the decoy. In February of 2024, 3 men entered the Perfect Pets in Centennial, Colorado, about 20 miles of Denver and the town I happen to work in. Shortly after entering the store, one of the men fell to the floor and was unresponsive, suffering from an apparent seizure. At which point one of the other 2 men grabbed 2 puppies valued at $4,300 each and quickly made for the exit. A store employee who was not tending to the man seizing tackled the suspect who dropped the puppies. The assailant managed to grab the puppies up and exit the store with another suspect. At this point, a gold Escalade with no plates and heavily tinted windows picked the 2 men up and drove away. Police determined that the man faking the seizure was Timothy Davis. The other 2 men, described as one black man and one white or Hispanic man, have not been identified. The driver of the Escalade is believed to be female, but no description is available. One of the puppies was returned to the store by a woman who purchased it from a street vendor in Denver the same night it was stolen for $1,500. Next time you're planning a crime, don't volunteer to be the decoy. The weirdest OnlyFans stuff ever. Monadnock Food Co-op is located at 34 Cypress Street in Keene, New Hampshire. In late February 2025, police were summoned to the store by an anonymous caller. The caller had witnessed a young woman contaminating food with her own urine and filming it. Police quickly identified 23-year-old Kelly Tedford as the culprit and arrested her. They also alerted the store so that the contaminated product could be removed from shelves. Upon searching Tedford's phone, police discovered similar videos with Tedford contaminating food and services at several local businesses. At this time, it is unknown if anyone was actually harmed by Tedford's behavior. We do know that Tedford was uploading the videos to a website, but we don't know which one. I have a couple questions for Tedford. How did you get this idea in the first place? What made you think it was a good idea? And exactly how much do you make on OnlyFans for it? I'd like to report my illegal lab. All the way back in June of 2024, Matthew Lashinsky called police to inform them of a break-in at his business. Police went to Quantitative Laboratories LLC to investigate the burglary. Upon arrival, police did see broken glass at the entrance to the building. When they went inside, police found what they believed to be an operation for producing crystal and DMT. They immediately launched a month-long investigation, which culminated in Lashinsky's arrest in December of 2024. Lashinsky pleaded guilty to charges relating to producing illegal substances. Details of his sentence are unavailable. So now we know that if you buy illegal stuff, you shouldn't call the cops on yourself, and the same is true if you're making illegal stuff. Additionally, if you're a chemist, maybe don't try to be Walter White because he's a character on a TV show. This is beyond disgusting. In early May of 2024, a woman and her 4-year-old daughter were enjoying a day at Dairyfield Park in New Hampshire. As the woman and her daughter approached a port-a-potty, a young man started an argument with the woman. Details of the argument are unavailable, but my guess is that he wanted to use the port-a-potty first. When the woman and her daughter entered the port-a-potty, the young man walked behind it, where he proceeded to tip it over onto its front, spilling all of the waste material from the container underneath the toilet seat onto them and trapping them inside. Bystanders quickly called police and helped the pair out of the toilet. Reports indicate that the woman and her 4-year-old child were covered with human waste. The culprit was identified as Aiden Studer, who was taken into custody at the scene. He is charged with several felonies. If you're going to abuse a mother and her toddler with toxic substances, maybe a busy park isn't the best place to do that. How not to lose the lottery. In March of 2024, Kira Enders and Dakota Jones walked into a Florida lottery office with a $1 million scratch-off winning lottery ticket. They weren't sure if they could cash it as it had suffered a lot of water damage, which caused the QR code to be unreadable. The ticket even had to be taped back together. Here, take a look at the actual ticket they turned in. What Enders and Jones apparently didn't know was that Florida lottery tickets have a serial number on the top and on the bottom. You guessed it, those two numbers did not match on this ticket. 7 days after dropping the ticket off, Enders called to check on the status. Officials told her to come into the office 4 days later. She reported to the office, with Jones driving, and the pair were immediately detained and separated for questioning. Enders and Jones provided different stories about how they came by the ticket, with Jones even stating that Enders knew it was two different tickets. The two were booked in mid-April and went to trial in May. I can't find information about their trial. Hey, Slappy and Bozo, if the state wasn't good at catching fake lottery tickets, the lottery wouldn't be profitable to run! Let's recap today's stories quickly. Look, if you can't even manage to shoplift successfully when there's not a bunch of cops in the store, maybe don't try it when there are. If you're out selling dope, maybe don't take a nap in public in the middle of your workday. If you booby trap your house before you're incarcerated, maybe tell your loved ones about the booby trap so that you don't lose more than your freedom. Here's a tip, if you want to be a celebrity, maybe a 30-year detour through the prison system for being a completely heartless bitch isn't the best way to go about it. Look, if you buy something illegal, maybe don't call the cops about it when it turns out not to be what you thought it was. Next time you're planning a crime, don't volunteer to be the decoy. I have a couple questions for Tedford. How did you get this idea in the first place? What made you think it was a good idea? And exactly how much do you make on OnlyFans for it? Additionally, if you're a chemist, maybe don't try to be Walter White because he's a character on a TV show. If you're going to abuse a mother and her toddler with toxic substances, maybe a busy park isn't the best place to do that. So today we had some really good lessons for aspiring criminals among you. No matter if you want to be a shoplifter, a drug buyer, seller, or producer, or an aspiring internet sensation, we had tips for all of you. On the other hand, if you just like laughing at people who aren't even smart enough to be criminals, do my people! Oh, and one more thing. If you're dumb enough to try any of this stuff, thanks in advance for the content. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and as always, channel memberships and super thanks are super cool. Now, I got a jam, so Tag, you are it.